Yes, good evening, everybody. It's the Flying Pig here on Flying Pig United. We're going to have a cheeky little transfer news video. It's Friday the 13th of June. It's 9:51 p.m. in the UK. Get in there, you legends. What's going on? Apologies if there's any obscene thunderstorm noises throughout this. It's absolutely kicking off down here. It's obscene. But welcome into everybody in the live chat. Thank you very much for joining us. Happy Friday night, you absolute legends. Welcome aboard, Super Fat Frank, Welshman, PJ, Disco Dave, Robert Hewer, Tommy K, Robert and Sire, Rajat, Tommy, Neil Driscoll, Welshman Forever, Ash Jones, AC Shadow Warrior, Pete Morris, Squidgy, Squid and Fridgy, Sean, Welshman, Half Gazzo, Gungshi, yes lad, get in, JMO, Callum McFarlane, Aidan, Oliver the Hunter, Disco Dave, Mags Hannon, Josh Hawker, and everybody else as well. Legends. Thank you very much for joining us here. Ashley Vote, Non-Alien, Archeo Man, SK, get in there, Michael Barber, and everyone else. Do us a favour at the start of the stream. Smash that like button on it. Give us a massive like. It's free to do so. Give us a thumbage. Also, you can share us around if you're that way inclined. There is a link at the top of the live chat. You know what to do. Give us a repost on X and we'll shout you out later on. And get yourself subscribed, my friends. We're on the march to 91,000 subscribers. Get yourself subscribed if you're new, and if you're on catch up later, get down below in the comment section. Q&A at the end of this one as well, of course. And we're even doing a cheeky little FC25 stream tonight on the gaming channel as well later on. So come and join us for that as well. Nice one, Wayne, Harinder, Paul, get in, and everybody else as well. Right, so give us some good news. Good news. There's not too much great news, to be honest, Disco Dave. Right, here's the news. Mbuemo signed for Tottenham, mate. No, I'm joking. No, listen. This is the news, I suppose, and it is positive news, you know. This is from Marco Alcaraz here, who says that he understands that Tottenham Hotspur have not placed any formal proposal or bid to Brentford for Bryan Mbeumo. Man United are the only club in advanced negotiations currently. Now, obviously, that could change, I suppose, now Thomas Frank's there, if he really wants to go and make a march to try and get his player back with him that he had at Brentford that was doing so well for him and scoring him a lot of goals, then surely he's going to at least try. If I was Thomas Frank, I'd absolutely try and hijack this deal. So just because there's no bids yet doesn't mean necessarily that there is no bids expected to be tabled by Spurs. But as we've gone into it many times earlier on today as well, I just feel like Man United's still better placed than Spurs right now. Even if they've got Thomas Frank, Man United's just a bigger, better club with more potential there. So you may say, okay, yeah, Thomas Frank, Champions League football. Just take the Champions League football off the table here for a second. It's Spurs. They're not going to do anything with that Champions League football. And they probably won't even qualify for Champions League football next season. Let's be real. So you take that off the table. It is about Thomas Frank. Well, he was prepared to leave Brentford to go to Manchester United and leave Thomas Frank at Brentford. However, Brentford is a tiny club compared to both Spurs and Manchester United, so it does add a little extra fuel to the fire that there may just be interest from Bryan Mbeumo to go and sign with his old buddy at Tottenham. This is very worrying, isn't it? It is very worrying. But at the moment, guys, there is no bids. There is nothing there from Spurs. There have been apparently initial talks taking place between Tottenham and Brentford, and this is concerning. But at the moment, as of right now, the Mbuemo situation hasn't really changed too much. Obviously, we know that Sky reported earlier on that Tottenham have held initial discussions with Brentford about a deal for Bryan Mbeumo. Mbuemo is understood to be more intrigued by a move to Tottenham now that Thomas Frank has become their head coach. But the situation's the same with United, surely. He still wants to play for Manchester United. He's still happy with the idea of playing for us, having agreed personal terms and turned down offers from a couple of other teams as well, such as Newcastle. So it's not like there's absolutely a big chance that he's going to change his mind now. I think it's still a small chance he changes his mind, a small chance he goes and follows Thomas Frank to Spurs. Remember, Spurs maybe could pay him what we're going to pay him, but they don't like to pay big money. I guess with the windfall that they had from getting the Champions League football and an extra 100 million in the coffers, which we missed out on, they might just be able to bankroll this deal. And of course, if they're getting a new manager in there, Thomas Frank, who's going to take over, they're going to want to back him in that first summer. That's going to happen. So it is worrying, and if you're Thomas Frank, of course you want to go and knock on Brentford's door and take Mbuemo, especially considering that he's going to Manchester United. It's not like you're doing Brentford a dirty one there by stealing a player. No, he's actually going to United anyway, so you might as well go in and steal him from them. So actually, I think it's on the cards that Tottenham try and bring him in. But even if they do try and bring him in, I just think the lure of Manchester United and also the big role that will be guaranteed in our team and the potential of Manchester United, and let's face it, probably the money as well, is just going to be too big at Manchester United compared to shithouse Spurs. So, you know, I loved it earlier on, all the Spurs fans getting in here, giving it the old Billy Biggin, seemingly bantering us. I mean, I don't know how Spurs fans can banter anyone with their miserable club winning one trophy every 2 decades, but there you go. Let's just hope he goes to Manchester United, guys. Let's ask the live chat, where does Bryan Mbeumo end up? Have your say. For me, it's still 80% Manchester United, but it is concerning because the other day, before this Spurs talks, I was 99% sure that he was coming to us. So it's now down to 80% because, of course, they've got a chance. Thomas Frank, you know, that is obviously a possibility. We've talked about earlier on in the video this afternoon about the situation with clubs obviously putting this out there in order to help them with their negotiations and their stance. Of course, if Brentford are in the position of negotiating with Manchester United, it benefits them to have other teams interested in them, of course, and to try and push the price up or get what they want out of Manchester United as well. So it may well just be a case, as we said, a lot of this, sometimes these little bits of information are just being drip-fed from football clubs in order to try and increase some pressure on potential, you know, clubs that are coming in to either buy or sell. So that is a factor as well, you have to remember. Right, let's see what you guys are saying here very quickly. So we've got United, says Welshman, get in there. Yes, get in the MUFC realist. Don't panic, and Mbuemo will be red. They're just ironing out minor details. I feel the same way. Pete Morris says Man United. He's going to Brighton, Real Madrid, Newcastle. United all the way. United. He's off to Rimmerworld. Oh, my goodness me. Well, let's hope he doesn't make too many clones of himself, mate. Or if he does, let's hope one of them's female. You know what I'm saying? Hence the episode Rimmerworld from Red Dwarf, in case you don't know what the hell I'm talking about there. Anyway, and Mbeumo loves Frank. He says, our only chance. Yeah. What's happening there, Sanjay? Yes, mate. Come on. How you doing? Yes. United, 60% for United. I think it's more than that, boss. Thank you so much, Thornstar. I'll go and have a little look at this, lad. We've also got another little bit from Florian, but let's go have a little look, see what you're referring to, lad. Florian's just tweeted about the Mbuemo situation. I appreciate the update there, Thornstar. Yeah, let's get this up on the screen here, lad. Thank you so much, mate. Let's have a little look at what he said then. So Florian Plettenberg, Sky Germany, has said the following. Let's bring this up on the screen here, guys. So I'll just pop that. That's not the one. That's the one. There it is. Okay, so this is from Florian Plettenberg a few minutes ago, Sky Sports correspondent in Germany. And, you know, obviously transfer update here says Tottenham Hotspur under new manager Thomas Frank will try to convince Bryan Mbeumo to make the move to Spurs. However, Manchester United have already entered negotiations with Brentford, as Mbuemo had already given his approval. A verbal agreement with Man United is in place, and they remain optimistic that the transfer will go through. Deal on. Well, that's positive, guys. That's positive. Obviously, like we've said earlier, yes, Man United are in the driving seat with this one because we've already had the negotiations. He's already agreed to come and play for us. There's no issues with terms or anything. That's all done. We are close to reaching an agreement with Brentford in terms of price tag. Perhaps Tottenham are just doing the classic shithouse thing, though, and waiting for us to get the negotiation done, and they just swoop in and match it. You know, oh, yeah, we'll match that. You know, Thomas Frank, good relationship there with Brentford, obviously. I'm sure they'd be quite happy for him to go there instead of Manchester United, right? So that is a possibility, you know, just because they haven't bid just yet. I do feel like they could still be sniffing around him once we've got close to getting that negotiations agreed in regards to the clubs. So if that happens, that would be ultimate shithouse tactics there from Spurs, but it does happen. And if I was Thomas Frank and Spurs, I'd absolutely try and hijack him. So I am a bit concerned, but I still feel like Manchester United has got everything we need to offer this guy for the future. You know, he was a United fan as a kid. He's going to get more opportunities at United because we've got such a shit team at the moment. He's like going to come in and be the main man. He played 38 times for Brentford last season. He'll probably play 38 times for us in the Premier League if he stays fit. That's the sort of opportunity he has. Except the difference, this is a massive football club, and we have the potential in a few years to be back up there as one of the titans of Europe. Unfortunately, we're one of the shitans of Europe at the moment. We really are, losing to Spuds in Europa finals and guff. So We are certainly not one of the Titans of Europe at the moment, but we have that potential to be so. Spurs, they have a potential to win one trophy every 2 decades. That's the only potential they have. Okay, well, thank you for that update there, Thornster. Appreciate that. So that's Florian Plettenberg just basically saying that it is expected with Thomas Frank going into Spurs that he's going to try and convince Bryan Mbeumo to make the move. I would if I was Thomas Frank. What a great signing that would be at the start of the window there for Tottenham if he's just been appointed the new manager. Obviously, he's been appointed the new manager. What a great new signing, guys. So if I was them, I'd absolutely try. And because of the whole Thomas Frank link, it's a little bit concerning. But Man United, I still think, has very much, a much more likely chance of getting him in there. Yeah. Thank you there, Stevie Mac. I appreciate you, you legend. We should buy his mum and dad a house and get revenge on Spurs because they did it to us with Paul Gascoigne. I know. Shithousers, lad. I know. Fergie went on holiday thinking that the deal with Gazza was all done. Next thing you know, they've greased his palms by buying his parents a gaff. I know. It's a disgrace, isn't it? Raja, I do. I think we could do with one. Obviously, we've had Johnny Evans and Lindelof leave. And we have got some injury-prone players at the back there. So I think it would make sense. Yes, Gungshi, the shitans of Europe. That's what we are, unfortunately, this season just gone. But in a couple of years, we could be back to being one of the Goliaths of football. But yeah, we're not there at the moment. By the way, guys, if you're just getting in the stream, smash that like button. We've got 243 legends in here and only 95 likes. Not a bad ratio, but also quite Hoyland-esque. Quite Gashmas Hoyland-esque. So do us a favour and let's get those numbers more up to being Gyokeres numbers. By smashing that like button on it. Give us a big thumbs up. And of course, subscribe to the channel if you're new. Nice one. Right, you wanna talk more on Mbuemo for a minute, and then we'll get into the Gyokeres stuff. Get your thoughts in about this whole Mbuemo guff. Do you think it's likely about Spurs, etc.? Oliver says he reckons he goes to Spurs. Facilities much better than United. Stays in London and Frank factor. Great points. Great points. His house probably isn't even far away from Spurs at the minute. I don't know where he lives, but Brentford's obviously within the M25. It's in London, so he's West London, isn't he, at the moment? And that would be like North London or whatever. So it's... He could technically stay in the same bloody gaff, maybe. I don't know where he lives. Probably not. But you never know, right? So from that point of view, yes. I mean, he might live an hour out in the countryside in a big mansion or something and drive in. I don't know where he lives. But the point is he might not even have to move, which is a very good point, mate. That is a law for him as well to stay there. Plus, if he likes London, which, you know, some people do, if he likes London, then maybe he wants to stay in London. It's a great shout. It is a concern, lad. And Thomas Frank, the X factor there. Without Thomas Frank, no way he goes to Spuds. But with Thomas Frank, I think it is a possibility. Can't he find a better club than Spuds or United? I mean, that's a bit harsh. I mean, you have to remember Spuds and United are still, whether you want to believe it or not, in the potential to finish both of us in the top 7 or 8 places next season. We are those sorts of size clubs with those sorts of squads and players. Both teams had big injury issues and obviously big problems throughout the season. You know, Big Ange having a stinker in the league, 22 losses, and Man United doing what we did was embarrassing as well, 42 points for the season. So, you know, but we still have the potential to finish up there. You know, if we get the signings we need and address the areas in the team, we still have the potential to stay up there. Yeah, RKO, man, that's it. Plettenberg tweeting Mbuemo Spurs' main priority. Frank believes he can get the player after positive talks with Mbuemo's agent. Concerning stuff, isn't it? I know, I do feel like they've got a chance as well. I'd absolutely take easy at United, mate. Yes. Should he go to Spuds? Do we have alternatives? It looks like it. I mean, so they were supposedly interested in bringing in Semenyo from Bournemouth if they're not going to go ahead and get Mbuemo. The plan was apparently for Semenyo previously. Who knows? Now Thomas Frank's in there, obviously. Semenyo, though, may be on the agenda for Man United if we couldn't get him. But also remember this, right? Man United does have the options to strengthen a different position. And we've still got Bruno, Xerxes, Mount, Cunha. So it's not really going to hurt us too much to have Bruno Fernandes alongside Matheus Cunha as the 10s. And then go and strengthen by signing a number 8. That is also a possibility now. Of course, we could certainly not sign a number 8. Bruno could play deeper and we go and look for another player that can play 10 if we don't get Mbuemo. But if we don't get Mbuemo, maybe we do change the position in the team that we look to strengthen because of the fact we've still got the Bruno Fernandes factor there. He's staying. Big up Omasala Emma. Welcome aboard. What's going on? Yes, Wayne Ranikar. Yes, so there are links. What's his name again? like Bucky or something. I've forgotten his name now, but I know who you're talking about. Yes, there's some links. Look, there's loads of links to goalkeepers, mate. It's all annoying. I don't think any of them are that realistic other than the Martinez one. You look at some of the options, you know, people are saying Donnarumma, Milinkovic-Savic, this Bukar guy or whatever his name is. There's a bunch, isn't there? Costa, but I think the most realistic probably would be Martinez right now. Mahad Awale, thank you so much, mate, for giving us the subscribe. Yes, Mahad, lad. And everybody else, if you're here for the first time, hit the subscribe button, share us around, tell your granny about it. We're on our way to 90,700 subscribers. Love it. Fingers crossed. Yes, get in there, Robert Hewitt, Ezio. Spurs won't give him the same wage package, and he said that he wants United. I wouldn't be worried. This is a Brentford trying to get more money. I agree, Danny. I think that's exactly what it is, mate. Some PR spin guff in order to try and get a little bit more cash drip fed out of Brentford. I completely agree with you, Danny, actually. Still, though, small percentage. I'd give it a 20% chance that he does go to Spurs, and we talked about why the London factor, the Thomas Frank, the Champions League, there's some reasons. But like you said, he wants to play for United, already agreed to join Manchester United. So the plan is full steam ahead. He should be going to Manchester United. There you go. Yeah, absolutely, Stephanie. Yeah, true. Well, quite a lot of the positions need addressing. We could do with a world-class wing-back coming in. Not many people we could get, but perhaps a Dumfries or someone like that if we really push the boat out. That would be nice. But yes, there's other positions as well. Spurs fans in the chat. Oh, no. React Brasso getting in from Brazil, lad. Welcome aboard. Yoga Benito, my friend. What's happening? Maybe Gyokeres would be a better signing than Mbuemo. I think so, too. Yes, if you could only get one player out of the two, that's a great comment you've made there, Nick Knack, because at the moment, it's not like we're really rolling in it financially. We did miss out on UCL. We have already spent on Cunha. We are trying to maybe save as much as we can on this, this Brentford deal. Perhaps a year or 2 years ago, we'd have just gone in and paid 70 mil and got the deal done right away. But at the moment, we don't have that many funds available. We do have to sell players. We do have to obviously try and balance the books that way. And we do have lots of players to sell. But you make a good point. Live chat, if you had to choose just one player to sign this summer between Mbuemo and Gyokeres, who would you choose out of those two players? I mean, this is a no-brainer question, really, isn't it? Because we've been so starved of those goals. I mean, Mbuemo does definitely bring goals. 20 goals he scored in the Prem, that's proven. But from what we need I personally think we need a striker more so than anything else. Because we still have Bruno Fernandes in the side. I think Matheus Cunha and Bruno Fernandes in behind Gyokeres sounds absolutely raw. I do think that sounds very raw. So, for me, it would be Gyokeres, but don't get me wrong, Mbeumo's proven in the Prem with 20 goals and 8 assists, he's obviously great, and he'll be a great addition, but I just feel like what we need is a proper number 9, who can bang the goals in and bang us up the league. That's what we need. Both says, well, we do need both, yes. Mbuemo, Gyokeres without doubt, Mbuemo, do a poll, we're doing a poll right now. Gyokeres. Yep, Luke says United need a 9 and not another 10. Yeah, we don't need another 10, do we? You're right. It'd be nice to get Mbuemo. He obviously adds goals and threat and everything, but we don't need a number 9 as much as we need a number 9. Gyokeres. There you go. Yes, Michael says Mbuemo, tried and tested in the Prem. Fair enough, can't argue with that. Bryan Mbeumo, Gyokeres, both Gyokeres. Yeah. Well, listen, we definitely need both. That is the answer there, really, and we have to bankroll that by selling players, maybe. Both is the answer. But just given the choice, if only one, I still would go towards Gyokeres, even though Mbuemo is permanently proven, just because Gyokeres is a number 9, and we need somebody who's going to be up there scoring shitloads of goals for us for many a year. And his record is kind of undeniable, isn't it? Right, we're going to get on to the latest Gyokeres stuff then. Once again, keep hitting the thumbs ups. If you haven't done so, every little like helps the stream and helps us compete with clickbait, shithouses, and melters. Oh, what's this? PayPal Bigger. I forgot to add a message, but it was for later, wink wink, to open something in the store at the start of the video. Hopefully in Mbuemo, here we go soon. You're a bloody legend then, aren't you, Thornster? Let's get some love in there, please, for Thornster. What's this? £14? £14 straight to the baby maker. From Thornster, mate, thank you so much, mate. Yeah, you're right. No message on there, but you've said it. You're a fucking legend. Get some love in there, please, for Mr. Thornster. Okay, nice. I appreciate that. You tell me what you want me to get on the game later then, Dad. Thank you so much, Thornster. I really appreciate that. That's very kind. Get some love hearts in there for this legend, everybody. Thank you, Reacts, for subscribing there. I appreciate that as well. Legends getting in here from Brasilia. Let's go, mate. Okay, so let's get on to the Gyokeres stuff now, guys. Thornstar just did, mate. How did you not see that, mate? Literally had it up on screen, literally just addressed it, mate. How have you not seen that, mate? But thank you once again. Thank you once again, you legend. Appreciate you. Somebody tell him I already read it out. Right, okay, yes, well, look, Osserman would be a good option if we can't get Gyokeres. Not too bad, Jaffer, thanks for asking. Let's get on to the cheeky Gyokeres stuff that we've got then. So tonight there is a couple of updates on Gyokeres. Let's see what this is all about then. So Florian Plettenberg reporting about 40 minutes before we started the show, saying that Sporting have given Viktor Gyokeres the assurance now that he will be allowed to leave in the summer for 60 to 70 million euros, as exclusively revealed in October 2024, and now confirmed by his agent Hassan Çetinkaya. Or Çetinkaya, right? And then obviously this has also come out just before we went live from Marco Alcaraz. He confirmed sort of the situation. He said that breaking to potentially avoid a legal dispute, Sporting CP may be compelled to uphold their original agreement with Viktor Gyokeres' camp, which grants him an exit clause valued between 55 and 60 million pounds. It is likely they will honour this. So he's very much obtainable. You know, potentially it's 55 or 60 million pounds, somewhere in that region. Now, that is very much in keeping with what we're doing this summer. We don't want to spend crazy money. 60 million quid sounds good. The situation at the moment is, it seems like Sporting want to try and get as much money as possible out of this guy, which you can't really blame them. Obviously, they've developed him. They want as much as they can get. But they've got to be realistic. It is Sporting. It is the Portuguese league. You know, they can't get 100 million for this guy. So they have to be realistic. Plus, he's 27, right? So he's not 23. He's not 22. He's 27. So you can't expect to get crazy money out of him. That sounds about right to me. How much do you think he's worth, guys? I think that's bang on. 55 to 60 million is what we should be spending on him at the moment, really. I know United may get desperate and spend a little bit more than that. But the reports are previously that there's been some sort of an agreement in place, at least a gentleman's agreement or a verbal agreement between Gyokeres' camp and Sporting, that if an offer came in the future between 55 and 60 million pounds, then they would be compelled to sell him. And that was the agreement. Now it seems like there is a little bit of tension caused there between the player and club because of the fact that they want more money. And they're just sort of playing the game at the moment to try and get as much money, aren't they? It seems. I mean, there's not really any sort of concrete bids or offers or negotiations taking place, but I'm sure there's lots of stuff being said behind the scenes, lots of verbal negotiations already taking place to the point where people are putting the feelers out there. We know United have been in contact with Sporting on the regular, for instance, over the last week. So there's lots of stuff going on there, but if that's the price tag, that's the price tag. And, you know, we can get him for that amount of money, can't we? Unfortunately, it does mean that there's very good value in the deal for other clubs as well, like Arsenal Hollands. Maybe they decide, paying what they're going to pay for Sesko or whatever's a bit too much. Turn attentions to Gyokeres, get him in there cheaper. Goals are unbelievable, records unbelievable. So, yeah, that could happen, couldn't it? That could happen. But at the moment, it does seem like because of the fact that Sporting had an agreement in place with Viktor Gyokeres to go for between 55 and 60. That is the amount of money that's going to be to take him away from Sporting. Get in there, which is good news, isn't it? Because it's not that much money for the sort of player that you're getting with the goal record that he has and the potential that he has. Plus, couple it with the Ruben Amorim factor, the fact he's obviously worked with him, played with him, developed him. He worked in the system that Amorim wants to play. These are all very positive things. We just have to get him in the door now. So, I mean, this may well end up being inaccurate. You never know. But lots of people reporting it. As I say, Marco Alcaraz, they're reporting it. Florian Plettenberg reporting it just before the show, that he'll be allowed to leave for between 60 to 70 million euros, which equates to, 55 to 60 million pounds. So that is the figure, it seems. That is the price that has been set now. It seems, in order to prize Gyokeres away from Sporting. Now, like I say, that could change. Maybe Sporting will just go full shithouse mode and try and generate as much cash as they can out of this Gyokeres deal with long, drawn-out negotiations and put the player through the ringer. But if they're honourable to what they've said in regards to the players' camp and the amount that would be needed to take him away, then it shouldn't be too hard of a negotiation, should it? This is the release clause. This is essentially, I mean, we know he's got a release clause. I think it's about 100 million, isn't it? But they don't have to obviously expect, they're not going to get that much for him, so it's just ridiculous. But it is a release clause. But in regards to what they've actually agreed in terms of a personal agreement, that looks like that's the amount of money. So positive stuff, guys. Man United could get him for 60 million, give or take a few mil here or there, I suppose. And if we did get him, it would be an excellent signing, adding loads of goals into our team. If we sign Mbuemo, Gyokeres and Matheus Cunha, we can all start to get a little bit frothy, can't we? We can get a little bit frothy if that happens, because obviously we'll have so many goals in the team next season compared to what we had. You'd expect anyway, unless some horrible Manchester United disease befalls them all. But, you know, in regards to how many goals they should score, 60 goals? 60 goals, guys. 60. That's how many they will score if we sign those 3 players in the Premier League. You let me know how many you think those 3 players will score in the league in the live chat right now. I say 60 goals. That's an average of 20 each. That's doable, my friends. That means, say, Gyokeres gets 25, Cunha gets 15, and Mbuemo gets 20. You know, that's doable, I'd say. I'm going to say 60, guys. If we had a front 3 of those 3 and they played all the games throughout the season, 60 goals, my son. That's what I'm going for. Maybe it's a bit ambitious. Even if we got 50, it would be way better than what we've seen for a long, long time. Yep, Gyokeres should be good for 20 in the league. That's it, mate. 54 and 52 for Sporting. All he has to do is get half of that, and it's a banging season. Vincent says 69, 60, 45 to 50, 52 to 55, 60 to 70. It's not a guarantee, RKO, man. Definitely not. Oh, no. They might struggle, might take a little bit of time to find their feet, whatever. Imperative we get them in early, have a pre-season. But, yes, I think 50 goals is very realistic. You know, that's assuming that the striker maybe gets 20 and that the other 2 get 15 each, around about there as an average. That's very realistic. If you look at their stats, 60s may be a bit ambitious, but 50, very realistic, yes. 20 for Gyokeres, 15 each for Cunha and Mbuemo. And Mbuemo literally got 20 this season, just gone for Brentford, and Cunha 15, I think it was. So it's very realistic to think that they could get that. Even if it's the low, it's 45, that's better. Oh, true. So much better. I think we got 21 goals from our front 3 this season in the Prem. Awful, awful. Will the goal difference be positive this season? Well, you've still got to address the flubber hand. Andre Onana must be moved on out of this football club, and we must replace him with a solid keeper. If we sort that out, I think then, yes, we will start to have a much better positive goal difference, because not only will we be conceding less goals and making less errors, but we'll also have some goal-scoring prowess up top. Remember, Højlund scored 3 or 4 goals for us this season. I mean, that's just terrible by anyone's standards. I would be very unhappy if I played as much as Højlund did this season for Man United and just got the same record he has. I would be very disappointed with that. And that's me, some 37-year-old fat fuck YouTuber. Do you know what I'm saying? Like, I would be disappointed with his fucking record. Playing for Man United up there. Goodness me. I'll get a few tap-ins for sure. You know what I'm saying? So, you know what I mean? That's the problem there, really. We need to replace the goals. And if we replace the goals with these 3 beastly goal scorers with great records, come on now. That's going to be amazing, isn't it? There's going to be goals in the team for fun. 60 goals, you reckon? Yep, 60. But Onana will equal it by letting them in. 70, 20, 12, 8, no pens. Hey, fair play to you, lad. Yeah, fair enough. No pens, because probably Bruno will be taking the pens. That's a fair point. Yep. Depends if Bruno feeds Gyokeres with so many assists. Positive goal difference should mean top half at least. Yes, well, if we do get those 3 players, which it is a big if, then I'm feeling, you know, top 7, top 8, top 7, 8 places in the league. I don't think we'll fall out too much beyond that. But again, we actually have to do well as a team. Amorim has to do well as a coach. There's a lot of factors. It's not just, oh, you sign the players and they're amazing. I mean, how many teams have we seen actually over the years in the Premier League spend lots of cash, invest lots in the team, buy lots of players, but ultimately still be a shit team? You know what I mean? Like, that's the reality. It's not always guaranteed to happen just because you get the pieces to the puzzle. You still need somebody that can actually put the pieces together effectively, and some people can't. I'm not saying Amorim can't. I think Amorim needs the tools to do the job that he's been asked to do and that he's told them he's going to do, which is a different system altogether, obviously. So he needs the tool to do that. Once he's got that, great. But again, it's not just about buying players and the team being great. There's so many examples of teams that struggle even with great players. I mean, Middlesbrough, for instance, back in the day, when they had like the Janinios and the Fabrizio Ravanellis and all this stuff, but ultimately they didn't do shit, did they? There's lots of other examples as well. Thank you, SK. I'll be more clinical than that Boylan belt, mate. Why can't we sign players on the sly nowadays, get deals done and fast and quiet? Yeah, well, we kind of did that with Cunha a little bit, didn't we? So sometimes we can do it, but only very rarely, it seems. You wouldn't take Bolker. I'd rather save money for Unai Simon. I wouldn't take Bolker either. It's not because he's not a good keeper. It's just because I've not seen much about him personally. Maybe he's an absolute baller. But right now, I think we need sort of proven experience, Premier League experience. Martinez fits the bill. Yeah, I know, React Brasa, yes, exactly. Well, let's hope so there, dude, because if it breaks down in terms of negotiations between them and is it like Leipzig, isn't it, with Sesko, then fuck me. There's going to be some issues there, lad. There's going to be some issues with them going and turning their attentions there to Gyokeres. Everton spent money, didn't they? Yeah, Everton spent a lot of money and shouted it over the years. That's a great shout. Nice, Daryl. We got 159 likes. Thank you, everyone who's hit the like button. Keep hitting the thumbs ups. Help us get to 200 likes. That's going to be the target for tonight's stream. Twat the likes if you're just getting in here. Get yourself subscribed to the channel if you're new. If you don't know what we do on this channel, we cover all the latest United goings on every single day. We're on here usually around about lunchtime and around about 10 p.m.-ish as well. We got on a little bit earlier this evening, but around about sort of 10 p.m. Come and join us every night, guys, if you want to chat United and transfers and stuff. We're covering it throughout the whole window. Of course, when the pre-season's underway on the 19th of July, we'll be back into watch-alongs and stuff. But until then, we're covering the entirety of the transfer window. Stevie says, one of the funniest things in the world is when you're losing your shite over a goal against United, then the super chat alarm goes off. Oh, right, yeah, I know. Sometimes the timing of that could be cruel, lad. Thank you, Stevie, lad. The evil prick owners have no clue what they're doing. Well, that is the biggest fundamental problem with us, definitely, lad. If Man United sign Viktor Gyokeres, we'll buy shirts same day or same week. Don't mind. It is worth it. All right, calm yourself down, Rashad, lad. That's what the Glazer shithouses want you to do, lad. But fair enough. I mean, I understand you want that Gyokeres on the shirt, lad. Okay. Klopp could do a double kill and deny Arsenal with Sesko. Then United with Gyokeres as Arsenal would go for him. I like your style, lad. Thank you, Ashley Vote. Appreciate you, dude. Appreciate you. Okay, I'm just going to have a look and see if there's any other transfer news that's come in since we've started this stream. Because obviously, often, sometimes stuff does come out throughout the evening. Let's see what's happened. Oh, interesting. Leon left back Nicolas Tagliafico set to become a free agent at the end of June. Interesting. We were linked to him a couple of years ago, you know, when he was at Ajax. Very interesting. Current interest from teams in England. Tagliafico, yes or no? Look, at one point, I haven't seen a lot of him, but at one point he was touted as being one of the best left-backs around, I seem to remember. Quite interesting that he would be available as a free agent at the end of June there, guys. Nicolas Tagliafico. I think he's not the one for us. We need better, but he is. I think he is a decent player. To be fair, Nicolas Tagliafico, and obviously looks like Nico Williams is going to Barca as well. Check that out. Nico Williams' agent met with Barca today after 2 meetings with Bayern, and the players opened in Barca. And yes, that's it. The last update really in regards to Gyokeres is from Marco Alcaraz, which is that one, which just basically reaffirms that we are probably going to be paying that sort of figure for Gyokeres, or whoever buys him is going to be paying that sort of figure for Gyokeres, because that is the agreement in place between him and the club. And reports that may not happen. And if it doesn't happen, Gyokeres may well begin some sort of legal dispute. That's what these reports are saying anyway. Dread, thank you, Dread. I appreciate that, you absolute legend. We spoke about that yesterday. Thornstar, again, I think it's just some media spin guff in order to put extra pressure on, you know, a link to all sorts of different players, etc., you know, try and make other teams feel like they need to sell to us if we put in a good offer, all that malarkey. Gyokeres comes to United, he's going to have the biggest target on his back in football, so need Mbuemo and trying to complete the pyramid. Do you know what? I don't know if he will have the biggest target on his back, actually, you know, Paulo. It's kind of a decent time to come, because the expectations are probably as low as they've ever been. We finished 15th and we were gash, and Højlund scored 3 or 4 goals. Let's face it, if Gyokeres got 15 in the league, we'd be like, that's a decent season for him first season, even though by most standards for Manchester United, that wouldn't be good enough. But you know, so in one way, yes, and in another way, no. And also, think about other players that are coming into the league. I think some other players have bigger targets on them. What about Florian Squirts? What about Florian Squirts, guys? He's coming in for 150 million euros. Goodness me, we've seen it ourselves firsthand when a player comes in for huge cash. Just how detrimental that can be to these players sometimes, with that extra added pressure of having to perform, basically, and have expectation of being a baller. When you're valued at 150 million, you move for that amount, and you're on massive wages, you're expected to just be absolutely on it, world class, one of the best players week in, week out. So the pressure's on him, mate, not necessarily on on our lad if we do get him there. But obviously there will be. News very quiet on Rashford and Sancho. Hope we're working hard behind the scenes to get those two gone. Well, yeah, I mean, it's probably more realistically going to get rid of Antony Dos Santos first, because it looks like Real Betis do have a strong interest in him and may well pay the €35 million fee that we sort of put on his head. At the moment, that looks likely because he's obviously been there. He knows the club. He's happy there. They've done well with him. He's done well there. It makes sense for all parties, really. They're getting a player for half price pretty much than what we paid for him a couple of years ago, who's actually good for them. So from their perspective, that makes sense. Maybe Erik ten Hag comes in and has a cheeky little bid, but I'm still expecting Antony goes to Real Betis. What are you saying, guys? Where do you think Antony Dos Santos ends up? Real Betis or Leverkusen with his Dutch Kojak friend? Oh, Dutch friend. Obviously, he's not Dutch, he's Brazilian, but you know what I mean, Dutch league friend. Over with Ten Hag, who knows? But I think Real Betis makes the most sense for Antony Dos Santos at the moment. He's probably the one player who's going to go the soonest. Other than that, Højlund, maybe a loan, maybe a transfer. Obviously, Rashford is still expected to be leaving this summer, but nothing too much more on that and the Barca situation, unfortunately. And obviously, Nico Williams is now being looked at by them as well, obviously, and that's probably going to scupper or at least damage the likelihood of a Rashford deal being done there. Yep, you'll keep Rashford, get rid of all the rest. Interesting, Coys, interesting, fair enough. It's just an attitude thing with Rashford. He's probably going to go somewhere and do quite well, but it's just an attitude thing. Matty memes, thank you for getting in here, Matty. Barca going for Nico Williams. Yep, that's it. Means I have to find another club. And Mbuemo will be a United player, even with Frank as Spurs manager, it won't make a difference. I love it, Lewis. I hope you're right there, Louis lad. There's a Garnacho story from Plettenberg a few hours ago. Leverkusen unlikely to sign Garnacho. Yeah, it's just the finances involved there, isn't it? Even though they've obviously got a lot of money from that sale, it's the finances involved with wages and all sorts of stuff like that. Plus, actually trying to convince him to go there is not the best likelihood, because Leverkusen's not an attractive club to pay for, really. Reacts as Gyokeres is also pissed with the Sporting president because the man is talking shit about the release clause and making the negotiations difficult. Victor removed Sporting from his Instagram bio. Yes, he did. That's true. And also, like you say, there's obviously been some tensions. Their president come out recently and basically said that, like you say, basically, I've not got the quotes here, but I did have the other day, but I don't have them right here now. But yes, I remember what you're on about. Amorim will be under serious pressure next season. He needs these signings. He definitely will, and he needs these signings to help big time. And Mbuemo, Gyokeres, and Cunha could transform the amount of goals we have in the team. It gives us depth in the midfield position as well, because it allows Bruno to drop deeper, plus the likes of Mount as a backup. Casemiro, Ugarte, Mainu, these guys, all still there. Collier gives us a bit of extra depth for that role as well. Then you can really focus on trying to get a goalkeeper and maybe a wing back, and then United will be looking pretty good for next season compared to the squad that we've got now, especially when you actually factor in the Premier League proven experience of these players. Bayer Leverkusen, Betis only try to loan Antony. They can't afford him at the moment. Maybe RKO man, but ultimately we could maybe agree a structured deal like we have done with Matheus Cunha with Wolves, So we're only talking about €35 million price tag here. For that amount, it seems like it could be doable, especially if they split it over a couple of seasons. They're not a huge club, Betis. There's not as much money there, obviously, but surely they could afford a big marquee signing like that for a Brazilian international. Best club for Garnacho would be Atleti. Yep, it's a long rebuild at Leverkusen. Take a Campbell on the Encito kid. He can help with pace and creativity. Interesting. We'll get him Viktor Gyokeres. Trouble is, the more you spend, the more pressure builds. Spot on, that's true. Oh, if only we had Keno, lad. If only we had Keno, we'd be sorted, wouldn't we? Right, I'm going to go and have a shout out of these legends who've reposted us on X. Big up the live chat legends. Thanks for sharing us around and reposting us there. We're nearly at 200 likes as well. We're only 9 likes away. I'm going to go over to the X and shout you legends out. Please feel free to give us a follow and a repost. Let's have a little look. We've had 6 reposts. Big up the 6 legends here. Aidan Vickery, the Mario 55, Eric, Johnny M, Feline Fur, Kieran, and Andy Davidge. Get the fuck in there, you legends. Thank you so much, guys. Okay, we're going to get into a Q&A now, folks. So, oh no, I did have one other story I wanted to discuss, actually. Paul Pogba looking like he's going to be joining AS Monaco. Yes or no, would you have Pogba back at the club at Man United? Obviously, it's a fat, greasy no from me. We've done that twice and it was shite. If we were to have him back at the club, it would be as a pay-as-you-play basis. I'm talking, if you play, you get 50 grand for a game. If you don't play, you get fuck all, lad, with no obligation to play you at all. Basically just there as a body, as and when we need you, lad. And we'll pay you if you play. That's the only way I would have him back at United. And even then, I don't think we need him. I think he's probably a bad player to have in the dressing room anyway. I feel like there is going to be some sort of big redemption story, though, for him once he's come back here. We know that he's a good player. Maybe he's going to really buckle down, work super hard. He's obviously been out of the game for a couple of years for all that drug issues and everything that happened, and suspended and all that kind of stuff. And then now, hopefully, he's going to have like a raw amount to prove. Pogba better than Ugarte. Well, Pogba's got some unbelievable attributes, mate. We always go on about this, but he does. He's just not great character-wise. You know, he's not the best leader. He's not great when it comes to working hard, all that sort of stuff. But actually, if you just look at his strength, his size, his power, his shooting ability, his passing ability, his vision, he's got a lot of what you need to be a classy midfielder. He really does. But he doesn't have the mental aspect of it, which is to be the hardest worker in the room or professional, I don't think. Yeah, we need a real number 9 back. Yes, Wout Weghorst. Okay, then. Casemiro getting old. He can still do it for this season, I think. He's shown over the last few months, great player. Him alongside Bruno sounds pretty good to me. And then we still got Ugarte and Mbeumo and these guys as well. Yeah, only 50k, lad. Only 50k a game. That's all I'm saying. Let's face it, he's only going to be playing 1 game a week. You know, that's it. He has to live. You know what I'm saying? Hashtag turtling. What's going on, Kate Cadet? Yes, are you turtling, are you? Oh, no. Know the feeling, lad. Know the feeling. Pig, would you take Pogba in nets if we got him back? Can't be much worse than Andre Onana. You'd 100% take Pogba. Wow, no to Pogba unless he's coming to be the water boy. You would as a ball boy. Yeah, fair enough. Maybe so, GB. I think you're right. Probably ends up a loan deal for Sancho out this season and we pay half the wages. That's the sad truth. Are you having a laugh? Is he having a laugh? We have Ugarte, who isn't good with the ball at all. Can't even handle pressure from teams like Ipswich. It's early doors for Ugarte again, but agreed, not blown away by him so far. But it's early doors for him, lad. Hope we land Gyokeres, Pig. I got a better feeling for this lad over Delap or Pogba, matey. Oh, definitely. You know, Delap would have been a good addition to the squad. Certainly, you know, 30 million quid. You can't really go wrong for a homegrown player, 22-year-old with Prem experience. But still, only 12 goals in the Prem for shitty Ipswich. It's not like he's going to come in and just be some 30-goal-a-season man. It's not expected to happen. So, yeah, I agree. Proven experience like Gyokeres with the goals record that he's got is much more desirable for us right now. Yep, Gyokeres is clinical in Portugal, but so was Darwin Núñez. All right, okay, yeah, no, I mean, it's a fair point. It's a fair point. There's lots of players that come over from different leagues and they struggle. That might happen, especially in a struggling team. But actually, like we've said, he doesn't need to do what he's done at Sporting in the Prem. He just needs to try and achieve a third of it or half of it. And that's actually not bad. You know, if he gets 25 goals in the Premier League or 20 goals in the Premier League, that's a good return. He doesn't need to score 54 or whatever. Notice Villa aren't interested in buying Rashford. Well, it's just the price. They can't afford 350k a week. We're not going to pay him 100 or 200 or whatever it may be K a week to go and play for them. That would be preposterous. So that's why the deal is dead, because it's priced out of the move, mate. He's priced out of the move there. They can't afford his wages. They wouldn't pay that to him. And we're not going to let him go to Villa and just let him play for them and pay him half of his wages or any crazy shit like that. No Pogba. Yeah, I think Rashford's got to be going out of the Premier League, really. He won't be able to perform, especially coming off the juice. Maybe Ezio. I don't think it's as clear-cut as that, lad. I don't think he was on the juice like that, personally. Not that sort of juice. I think what he was taking, wasn't it basically for, like, you know, like, recovery and also rehabilitation, like, for his injury. Like bone density and shit like that, trying to recover after an injury. Wasn't it something to do with that? I don't know. Imagine Pogba and Bruno in midfield. Okay, fair enough, but Pogba has the great potential to be a great performer for anyone he plays for, but he also has the potential to be a complete passenger melt, lad. We saw it more often than not at United. I don't want Pogba back, guys. No way. One fix of cocaine, he's flying for days. Emmanuel Ramatera, thank you so much for hitting that subscribe button, you legend. Yes! Thank you for that. Give us a subscribe if you're new, like Emmanuel. Yeah, fair enough, but Gyokeres is different, believe me. Núñez didn't have prime year. No, unless you mean he obviously had a prime year when it comes to hitting the upright. Not even Mourinho could deal with Pogba, and he tamed Zlatan. Exactly, yeah. Oh, Mourinho couldn't be doing with him, lad. Yeah, Pogba probably would fit into Amorim's system, actually, Disco Dave, probably quite considerably. But, again, what Pogba is going to turn up every week? It's not worth the risk for us, not worth the gamble. I mean, unless he wants to come and join for basically nothing, as I say, pay to play, Rasmus needs to free up the number 9 shirt. Oh, definitely. Mainu's better as a 10 than an 8. He doesn't have the pace to run the midfield. Fair point. It's a fair point, RKO man. I prefer Mainu a bit further advanced. But who's going to say he's not going to play that role for us in a secondary role? And also play sometimes in the 8 and maybe even in the 6. Pogba, yeah, got more chances to go out and land Jack Grealish. Tell my man, shut up. Gyokeres is doing his job as golden boot constantly. Yep, PSG scammed us with that one. Who would you go in for in midfield if we sign one? Do you know, I like Adam Wharton, you know. I do, I like him. He's a hard worker. You know, he's not the most flash of players or whatever. But I think he can actually do a good no-nonsense job. I would take somebody like a Darren Fletcher or a Carrick or somebody like that right now rather than a superstar. You know, can you cook, pig? Let him cook. I can cook to a reasonable level, mate. Yeah, I can cook some things. You agree with Rio, the Gyokeres overall game is not that impressive. He's just a stat merchant. Get Osserman. Interesting, Dilvani. I mean, I don't really agree with that. I see the pace, the power, the poise, the finishing, the composure. I don't really agree with that. I'm playing with voodoo dolls. What the fuck, says Disco Dave. Gyokeres will go to Arsenal. We get Vardy. Could this end up being another shit show transfer window, Piggy? Of course it could. If we didn't, imagine this. We didn't replace the goalkeeper. We can't sign a new replacement. Andre stays. We don't sign the number 9 we need. Gyokeres goes to Arsenal. And Mbuemo goes to Spurs. Just imagine that. That is the shit show transfer window that you would hate to see. It's possible. But I still think we've got a chance of signing them all as well. I mean, I really do think Luis Diaz is a very good player, but it's just so unrealistic, obviously. So it's just not going to happen. You just join, where does Pogba fit in Ruben's system? Pogba would be fitting in there as the number 8, I would say. He would be the number 8 for in the midfield too. You'd have a sitter, a holder, a Casemiro type, and Pogba would be the playmaker, the spreader, the box-to-box midfielder out of the two. That's probably where he would fit. But again, I don't want him to play for us. Can we get Gyokeres? Yes, in theory. But in practice, maybe a bit more difficult. Other clubs may take him, etc. If we can't get Mbuemo, how do you fancy Akliouche? Monaco willing to sell. Akliouche. Who the fuck is that guy, mate? No disrespect, I don't watch that fucking Farmers League. You agree with Rio? Sesko is more well-rounded and younger than Gyokeres. He's a stat merchant. Hey, fair enough. Sesko more well-rounded. Hey, fair enough, lad. Really hope Amorim uses the younger generation more next season. Heaven, for example. Yeah, oh, he will. He will. Yoro as well has got a great future. With Gyokeres, he can turn games on its head with his experience, control and composure, and his lethality. Great word. You thought myself we should have signed Seb van der Berg last January. Good midfielder. Gyokeres is built and lean and strong. He is, isn't he? He's fucking Munich, lad. United need a Lautaro Martinez, proven world-class number 9, not relegation stars and one-season wonders. I don't think Gyokeres is a one-season wonder or a relegation star, personally, lad. I think that would be a great signing. No thank you to Pogba. Think about it. Ruben Amorim got a lot out of him, and Ruben Amorim's our manager. So if he wants to get him in there and get him scoring the goals in the system for us, I trust in what he's trying to do. Yes, he is. If by chance we miss out on the strike, I hope we don't. If we do, worst case, I think Xerxes would fit that role. He could definitely play up there, mate, yeah. Not the most clinical, but I do like him. Certainly much better than the likes of Højlund. Yeah, he's more than likely going to Real Betis. What's your thoughts on Trent speaking Spanish during his Madrid video? I've not even seen that, mate. Sounds cringe, though. How does a Scouser speak Spanish anyway? You know what I'm saying? Like, oh, madre mia, mate, hombre, mate, hombre. Yeah, anyway, never mind. Gyokeres would be great to provide his experience as well to the youth. Chibo could use a solid mentor and is easily our future number 9 if we can keep him. Love that. Yeah, I know, it's crazy, lad, it's crazy. We've been saying use the academy, but it's too toxic. Hey, anyway, listen, guys, we're going to wrap up this stream here, but please do us a favour and hit the likes, hit the subscribe, click the bell. Make sure you come and join us tomorrow. We'll be back on here around lunchtime and, of course, at around about 10 p.m. again for another update session where we look at the day's news and then the evening's news. So make sure you subscribe with the bell icon smashed and get yourself in there raw and have your say. Maybe we'll just stick on for a couple more minutes, actually, and read your comments out here. Spanish is awesome, pig. Yep, Trent speaking Spanish, pretty shit, lad. Doesn't sound... What did he say? Mi casa de su casa la. I don't know. Updates on Gyokeres and Mbuemo. Gyokeres price tag is set at around about 55 to 60 million. That is the latest update there for Gyokeres. Sporting have given Viktor Gyokeres the assurance that he will be allowed to leave in the summer for 60 to 70 million euros. This is free of Florian Plettenberg. And Marco Alvarez reporting just before this stream that to potentially avoid a legal dispute, Sporting may be compelled to uphold their original agreement with Viktor Gyokeres' camp, which grants him an exit clause valued between 55 and 60 million pounds. So there you go. There's the updates on Gyokeres. And then the update on Mbuemo is just really that it's understood that obviously Tottenham have spoken to Brentford. There is no bids tabled yet. Florian says Tottenham manager with now Thomas Frank at the wheel will apparently try to convince Bryan Mbeumo to make the move to Spurs. However, Manchester United have already entered negotiations with Brentford as Mbuemo has already given his approval. A verbal agreement with Man United is in place and they remain optimistic that the transfer will go through. Deal on. So those are the big updates there for Mbuemo. It looks like still going ahead with Mbuemo at United, although there is now a possible chance that he will go to Spurs because of Thomas Frank, UCL football, and it's in London where he already lives. So it's a possibility. I wouldn't rule it out, but I still think bigger likeliness going to Manchester United, seeing as that's all basically done. And Pogba to Monaco is looking likely. AS Monaco have offered a 2-year contract to Pogba with talks underway. Negotiations and discussions over project continue this weekend to try and reach an agreement. Monaco are working on both Ansu Fati and Pogba deals right now. That's the latest transfer news of the evening, you legends. We are going over to the gaming channel now. Flying Pig Gaming is the name of the channel. Give us a subscribe. Let's have a look at this. Gaming stream. Here it is. And we're literally starting in 5 minutes, folks. So you see that link in the live chat there? I will pin it to the top. Please do us a favour. Come and join us for the FIFA stream tonight. We're going to stream for a couple of hours over there. Smash up some falls on FC25. You know it makes sense. There it is. I'll pin it to the top. Come and join us, guys. And thank you so much to the community of legends for getting in here, everyone. Thank you so much to all the moderators and all the members in here. Big up Rajat, all the members in green like Ezio, Gungshi, G-Wolf, etc. And big up the mod squad, people like Gungshi, G-Wolf, all these absolute dons. G-Wolf, lad, welcome aboard, lad. And Mbuemo's not going to Spuds when he says he wants United. Exactly, I think he's coming to United as well, boss, yeah. Big ups G-Wolf, big ups Gungshi, Rajat, Disco Dave. Yeah, do us a favour, even if you're not into the gaming stuff. Go over there, smash the like on the gaming stream, hit the subscribe on Flying Pig Gaming as well. We're trying to get to 7k over there. Help us out, you might as well. And I'll see you over there, guys, in a few minutes' time. Nice one, Lewis. Nice one, Quack. Nice one, Kate Cadet. Hashtag Turtlin. Nice one, Archaea Man. Reacts, Brasser as well. GP, and everybody else as well. Robert, thanks so much, everyone. Come back after the stream's finished. Get your thoughts and opinions in about anything we've discussed. Gyokeres and Mbuemo, whatever. Get your thoughts and opinions in afterwards. You can keep the debate going in the not live comments. Also, check all the links in the description. Follow us on Insta, Facebook, Twitter, TikTok, Twitch, and Kick at Flying Pig United. All the links in the description. And I'll see you in 5 minutes over on the gaming channel. Nice one, Ed, everybody. Legends. Thanks for a great stream. Great chat as always. Enjoy the rest of your Friday nights. If I don't see you over on the gaming channel, have a cracking evening. And remember, Piggy loves you. And also remember, when the seagulls follow the trawler, this is because they think sardines will be thrown into the sea. Thank you very much. Get in there, you beauties. Thank you so much to all the patrons here for supporting the channel on patreon.com/flyingpigunited. As a thank you, all you legends will be appearing on this outro list. Get in there. Once again, thank you to all the YouTube members, but one of the best ways you can support the channel is on patreon.com. So check it out. Patreon.com/flyingpigunited. And once again, a big thank you to all the legends that do support the channel on Patreon. Get in there.